Nebby here. Welcome back to the channel. How's everything? How's life treating you? Hope all is well with you. In today's video, I want to talk to you about two cameras. I have the Nikon L35AF and also the Canon AF35M. These are both autofocus point and shoot film cameras that do different things but also are very similar. I want to keep one of them around as my go-to point and shoot film camera, and over the next couple of weeks I will be shooting a couple of different point and shoot film cameras, so make sure you subscribe to check those out. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about the history of both of these cameras, talking to you about the similarities and the differences. I'm going to be showing you images, and then I'm going to be talking to you about my thoughts before making a final decision on which one of these cameras I'm going to be keeping around. Let's dive right into this one. First off, we have this Canon AF35M. This camera was originally introduced in 1979 and is commonly known as the Canon Autoboy. It's one of the first Canon short-shot cameras that started taking over the point-and-shoot game before Canon decided to go digital. The Nikon L35AF, on the other hand, came out in 1983. So Nikon waited a full 4 years developing and doing more with their point-and-shoot camera before releasing it out to the public. This Nikon L35AF is commonly known as the Pikaichi in Japan, which loosely translates to top notch. And honestly, they weren't kidding. Let's talk about the similarities between both of these cameras. The first thing being that both of these cameras are fully automatic. When it comes to the autofocus, automatic, exposure, automatic, rewind, automatic, advance, automatic, just load your film, point, and shoot. Both of these cameras have a unique feature that allow you to set the ISO on the dial on the front of the camera. This is the only manual function of this camera. There are different versions of the L35AF that go up to 800 and also 1000 ISO, but this one that I have right here only goes up to 400 ISO. The Canon Autoboy also only goes up to 400 ISO, but you can adjust the dial all the way down to 25 on both of these cameras. The next thing is the pop-out flash. Both of these cameras have pop-out flashes that come out in different ways. On the Canon Autoboy, you have to manually release the button for the flash to charge, and then you can take the shots. On the Nikon L35AF, there's no dedicated button to pop out to the flash, but the camera automatically senses when the flash is needed and it'll pop out when it feels like it's necessary. The next similarity is the overall look of both of these cameras. When it comes to the way they're laid out, the way they are designed, they basically have the same design and the same functions. It looks like, I don't know, maybe Nikon copied the design and just like did their own tweaks, because it basically looks the same. Now, I'm just kidding. A bunch of cameras that came out in this period actually look pretty similar. So I wonder who actually set the trend. Now that I know about the similarities between both of these cameras, there are a couple of things that make them different. The first thing that makes them different is the lens quality. Now, these are two different cameras from two different manufacturers, so they are going to have different lenses. The Nikon L35AF is famous for its 5-element sonar type lens with a built-in UV filter, while the Canon AF35M has a solid 4-element lens, but the Nikons came out 4 years after, so it is just a little bit more advanced. Now, when it comes to the autofocus system on both of these cameras, they are different. The Nikon uses an infrared autofocus system, which is more accurate in low light, while the Canon actually uses a 3-zone focus system. The next thing is the price range. In 2025 on eBay, if you wanted to buy the Canon, you can find it anywhere from $100 to $200. But honestly, if you search Facebook Marketplace, you may be able to find it. I was able to find mine for $20 on Facebook Marketplace. And when it comes to the Nikon L35AF, I've had bad experiences with this camera in the past. This is my third one that I've used. The first two, for some reason, they just stopped working. One of them had a winding issue. One of them had an issue with the self-timer. It just messed up the camera. I actually took it apart trying to fix both of these cameras, but I'm hoping that this one is good. But I would strongly suggest buying it new off of eBay or buying it fresh off of eBay from those folks, because at least you could return it. But unfortunately, these cameras could go for anywhere between $250 and $400. But you could get lucky with a Facebook Marketplace find. Just know that it may not work correctly. Lastly, when it comes to the differences between both of these cameras, it's just in the way it feels in the hand. The Nikon has a little grip on the left side of the camera there. It does allow the camera to really just sit in your hand, as opposed to the Canon, which is more of I don't know what shape is this. Is it a rectangle or a square? I guess it's more of a rectangle, so it doesn't really sit in your hand as nicely as the Nikon. That just affects overall shooting experience and just the ergonomics of everything. So in the hand, for me, the Nikon feels better, but it's just a little bit different from the Canon AF35M. Now that we've spoken about the similarities, the differences, you know a little bit about the history of the Autoboy and the Picaichi, let's take them out in the streets and see what the images actually look like. I'm going to be taking both of these cameras into the streets of Toronto. I'm going to be shooting one roll of color, one roll of black and white, and I'm going to be showing you the images side by side so you can see what the images from both of these cameras look like. Let's go. This is the Canon AF35M. I'm gonna load this in with some Kodak XX. I just picked up from downtown camera. These are hand-rolled rolls. I've spoken about XX on this channel in the past. If you want to check out the video, I'll put a link up here. But let's load this bad boy. Sounds a little different because you gotta like tuck it in, you know? With the other point and shoots, you don't have to do this. So this is ISO 250. So I'm gonna put it, so that's 200, 250. Alright, so ISO 250, that's loaded. Now let's load the L35AF with XX again. I should just have taken all the film out of the canister things, because these things are just garbage for me. But L35AF, let's get you loaded. This one you just gotta tuck it in there. The camera does the rest. Alright, I'm just gonna clean the lens and get started shooting. I'm gonna take a detail shot here, see how it exposes. The Canon is definitely louder than the Nikon. I've been falling in love with signs lately, and it's been grabbing my attention everywhere I go. So now that I've seen this one, my eyes are just like perked wide open again. This one has a soft press. The L35AF has like a pre-focus thing, it seems like, whereas the Canon does not. Something to take a note of as I move throughout the day. One shot, okay composition. I'm gonna come all the way back. Let's see if I can get something up there. Shot number 11 for both of them. 36 exposures. I don't know if this is open. That's too cool. So I'm still shooting with both of these cameras. Still have XX loaded in there.
You wanna label me a thug, it's for my pals increase. Getting you to unplug from the pals that be. Had to get it from the mud, but for them flaws I've seen. Making up for every R&D. Still in need, it was divine, cause the times ain't nothing dandy. The line to you in your pride, thinking your families. And them lines is uncanny. Annie fixing the beat. You know the 6 ain't a man in the feet. Who else flow for the street? Eric Flo gotta eat. Somebody gave him $1 and someone gave him 2 G's. Manifest to the world when I get on the couch. Who's gonna wanna compete? I got the corners for any kind of piranha.
I guess this is where the L35AF has a little bit of an advantage. Just a little though, not too much. The extra 3mm makes a difference. Where the nerds are. Did they just freeze for a second? Alright. Nice shot on the Ultra Boy. This is the Nikon. Exact same spot. Exact same spot, exact same film. Take a photo of all of these. There's green, there's purple, there's red, there's orange. We'll get to see how this camera renders colors. It's a nice camera. Is that the 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's actually my first camera.
Let's take a picture of it just like. But the Mamiya 7, that's the dream camera right there.
Yeah.
Man.
Great.
Oh, can I hold it?
Sure.
Oh my gosh, you're about to kill me with this.
Oh, it's actually on the panoramic kit, so it's right now shooting a 21:9.
So like a pattern. Oh, you definitely you've used this camera a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh man, you're gonna make me want to buy one. How much did you buy this for?
Well, actually, when I buy this, like third cheap, like $700.
No way.
Right now, it's going to 4,000 something.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
One of these days. Is this a Fish Island? Oh, so 43.
Yeah,
it's a wide. It's much heavier than I thought it was gonna be. developed and scanned these rolls by myself using D76 for the black and white rolls, and also the Flick Film C41 kit for the color rolls. I scanned these using my Epson V600 flatbed scanner and converted using Negative Lab Pro. I want to talk about three main things when it comes to what the images look like from these cameras. I want to talk about the sharpness, the contrast/brightness, and also the color representation. We're going to be diving into Lightroom. I'm going to be doing a side-by-side comparison and giving you some of my thoughts. Let's dive right into Lightroom. Now that we're in Lightroom, I want to talk about sharpness first. Now I'm going to dive into this image here first and just show you what the differences in both of these look like. On the left here we have the Nikon, and on the right we have the Canon. Let's zoom in so you can see the differences. I'm actually really impressed with the sharpness that came from the Canon. I wasn't really expecting much from it, and it just really impressed me with the sharpness and the overall quality of the images. But taking a look at these two images side by side, you can clearly see that the Nikon is much sharper than the Canon. Taking a look at the top of the castle of the church right here, not a castle. Taking a look at the top, you can clearly see just how much sharper the Nikon is compared to the Canon. Now let's go and take a look at another image right here. We have Nikon on the left, Canon on the right? So if you zoom in to these images, taking a look at the glass image right here, it's a really subtle difference. And honestly, if I wasn't zoomed in, taking a look at both of these images, I wouldn't really be able to tell. But if you take a deeper look, you can see that the Nikon is just a little bit sharper than the Canon. But if you zoom out, you can barely tell the difference. Let's take a look at one more image just to see what the difference is between both of these. So this is a Nikon, this is a Canon. Right? If we zoom in to the Toronto on his jersey here, you can see that again, the Nikon is just a little bit sharper. Now it's not by much, but you can see that there is a difference. And the Nikon overall is just sharper than the Canon. And that's expected because the Nikon came out 4 years after the Canon came out. So it's a sharper lens. The second thing I want to talk about is the contrast and the brightness. Taking a look at this image right here, on the left we have the Nikon, and on the right we have the Canon. You can clearly see more detail in the shadow areas of the Canon versus the Nikon over here. The Nikon is known to have a contrasty lens, so under darker situations like this, you will get a darker image. That lens also adds to the sharpness, but it also increases what we have right here, which is the darkness that you see in this image. Let me put another image side by side so you can see what I'm talking about. Taking a look at this image right here as well. Again, same edit, same film stock, XX. On the left, we have the Nikon. On the right, we have the Canon. If we take a look at the shadow area right here, and we can see how much more detail we can see with the Canon versus the Nikon. When it comes to the contrast and the brightness, this is more of a preferential thing, but I would have to say the Canon just like shows you more detail in the shadows when you're shooting on a day like this, and the Canon just overall takes it for me when it comes to the brightness and the contrast levels. Some people might like more contrast in their images, but for me, I prefer what the Canon is given versus what the Nikon is given. The Nikon took the sharpness, the Canon took the brightness and contrast levels, at least for me. The third thing I want to talk about is the color representation. So we have the Nikon on the left, the Canon on the right. Again, this is very subjective, but there is a difference in the image. If we zoom in, you can see what the colors look like. The Nikon is a little bit more warm and green versus the cool and more bluish tones that you get from the Canon. And this is true throughout all the color images. I shot Ultramax 400, so same film stock, developed the same way, converted the same way, same edits. There's a difference with the color representation. I personally prefer the way the Nikon looks. And just taking a look at another image right here. So this is the Nikon and this is the Canon. Let's put them side by side. Again, if we zoom in, you can see that there's a difference. The Canon is cooler in the shadows versus the warmer tones that we get from the Nikon. And the color representation on the Nikon for me is just more pleasing than the color representation on the Canon. Again, these are just little things that just create a little bit of a difference in both of these cameras. The sharpness goes to the Nikon, the contrast and the brightness goes to the Canon, and the color representation for me goes to the Nikon as well. Now, these are just 3 things I wanted to touch upon that are really important to me, but you can feel free to make your own choices and your own conclusions based on the results that you've seen from both of these cameras. Now, when it comes to which camera am I going to be keeping for myself, I'm going to have to go with the Nikon. The sharpness, the contrast, and the colors, the representation is what I'm looking for in my images. The Canon does have a better contrast and brightness ratio, but overall, I like the look that I'm getting from the Nikon L35AF. Now, if I didn't already have both of these cameras, the choice might be a little different for me. I might have went with the Canon because I'm really impressed with the contrast levels, with the sharpness, and the fact that I got this for 20 bucks. Like, this was a $20 camera. So I might even be keeping this around, but if I had to pick one, I would go with the Nikon. It has better overall picture quality, better ergonomics when it comes to holding and shooting. And overall for me, I just feel like that's a better camera to shoot with. I'm going to have a link in the description down below to my blog for you to check out the images side by side and also check out the other things that I have to offer. Until next time, make sure you stay safe, make sure you film, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.